It was 8:30 on a Tuesday night, and I was building a drag and drop activity in Google Slides for like the third time that month. Not teaching, not planning, not being a dad, building a widget in Google Slides, like some kind of digital manager, digital janitor. I could tell it was going to be a late night. And I just thought, this is insane. I have a PhD in education. Why is this so hard? And that moment is why I'm recording this episode, because I did something about it. And I want to tell you the whole story, including the parts where I had no idea what I was actually doing. My students' parents, they spend a lot of money for their kids to learn English. And the parents, they know that these kids' future is bilingual and sometimes multilingual. And if any of you have worked in like a Spanish immersion school in the States, then you know that it's the same. You have a one language policy at times. The kids, no matter how well or poorly, they just have to practice their non native tongue in the most normal circumstances. So every day I'm asking, how can I enrich that? How can I make that experience more robust, more enjoyable, more rewarding for them? But not just that, it's about learning, because ultimately I want to make it fun. Because learning, and I believe this with all my heart, is simply fun. The thing is that we have a set curriculum. We have worksheets. We have a no iPad rule for the upper graders in my school, which is both really good and really bad. And I need my kids interacting with the language in a way that does not keep me at the center of it all. So I tried what was out there. I tried ChatGPT, I tried Magic School, and none of it really hit at what my kids needed. All of this stuff, these awesome tools, just made documents, or they required you to actually code. And I don't know how to code. My kids need something interactive. There's a difference between a worksheet on a screen and something students actually interact with. Every teacher knows this, but nobody had built the tool that bridges that gap. So I learned about vibe coding, which is essentially the idea that you could describe what you wanted and AI would build it for you. Immediately, I knew this would have a lot of negative impacts on people who did code. But I knew that as a teacher, the tools I needed for my kids were much closer at hand. Now, vibe coding is not perfect, but for me, for a teacher, for someone who needs tools and needs and wants kids to enjoy learning, this was mind-blowing. You can describe software in plain English and AI will build it. I thought that this was insane, so I tried it. And in all honesty, when you do this, you don't always know what prompts are best, what phrases are best, how best to start or ideate your tool or system. So I try to build something that my kids can use, something interactive that is more than just fill in the blank and words on the screen. So I tinkered. My father did and still does to this day in his barn. He loves to build things, and I got that from him. I've built many things in my life. I've built guitars, I've built computers, I built radio control airplanes and other radio control devices. It's just something I do. It's fun and I love it, and I've done it with my students before. And so that's where we get the name Tinkerix, which is the name of the tool that I built for myself and for you. And there were tons of possibilities out there. Teachbuild.com or builtforyou.com or builtforteachers.com or builtforteachers.ai and stuff like that. But something about Tinkerix just worked. It made me think of my dad, and it made me think of my students, and I liked that. Two things that I really value. And the thing that I loved about building this tool, and what I still love about it, is that I built it for me, and I use it nearly every day. And my students just love it. And I'll be honest, this app, it is complicated, but not to use. The goal was to put vibe coding in the hands of educators, into your hands, so that you could really enrich your students' classroom experiences. I want to pass the gift on. Blaze the trail, give it to others, essentially. But exactly in plain language, what is this tool, this app that I built? Well, it's a website. And on this website, you either drop in a file or a few files, or you describe the content you're studying in one or more sentences. You indicate your classroom grade level, you indicate the subject, you indicate the difficulty level, and you get an interactive classroom tool built in 60 seconds. It's like a cheat code for last minute planning. You walk in, you've had a bit of a late night, you haven't had your coffee yet, type in a few words, and you have an interactive 20-minute tool that the kids will use and will love. Word scramblers, choose your own adventure, quizzes, warm-ups, exit slips, all of this stuff. But the really big one I wanted was an escape room. So I built an escape room generator. You type in a topic or drop in a document, and you tell it your grade level, and generates a 4-stage mystery where students can't actually move forward until they've actually learned something and demonstrated it. The first time I tested it, I genuinely could not believe that it worked. And because I love it, I'm improving it and adding features to it every week, including 3D escape rooms where the students actually move through the room on their devices. But it's still buggy, right? The codes would not work. I would get frustrated. The questions would come back all very low level sometimes. And my kids would get a little disappointed too when this happened, so I buckled down. I woke up at 4:30 every single day for weeks to hammer it out, and you can hear it in my voice right now that I've been waking up too early. I do not know coding, but I love learning. And this became a real source of joy for me to learn about despite the lack of sleep. And of course I fixed it, because if you work hard enough at something, you simply can. If you want to see what it looks like, there's a demo on the website homepage. And I think I put it here on YouTube as well. But let me just walk you through it with a little more detail because it's only a 60-second demo on YouTube. So imagine you're a fourth grade science teacher, or just a fourth grade teacher who teaches science, and you've got a unit on animal classification coming up tomorrow. You open Tinkerix, you type, and I mean literally type, no menu, no template, you just type. A drag and drop animal classification game, grade 4, medium difficulty. You hit generate. About 45 seconds later, you have a fully working drag and drop game. There's a shareable link. There's a QR code that students can scan and it pops up on their tablets or iPads. There's a link for you to put it in your Google Classroom. Students, they can open it on their phones or their laptops, and that's it. You didn't write a single question. You didn't format a single cell. You didn't open Google Slides, but here's the thing that genuinely blew my mind when it worked. I set it up to drag and drop in your own documents, your actual lesson PDF, your unit plan, your reading passage, your vocabulary. And Tinkerix reads it, and it builds the activity from your content, your vocabulary, like your examples, your learning objectives. This is not generic internet content. This is not generic use of ChatGPT. Like your specific content about the water cycle, your water cycle unit. The result is that the activities are automatically aligned with your classroom objectives and content. And I told you about the escape room, but man, this one, it blew up in my classroom in a good way. And this is the one I really want you to picture. The students open the link or they scan the QR code and it pops up on their screen. It's dark, atmospheric, there's music, themed around what you're teaching. I have 4 or 5 different templates that all work around science, social studies, English. And there are 4 locked stages. To unlock each stage, students have to solve a puzzle. And the answer to the puzzle is the unlock code, as it should be. And there's also a teacher in the background link that you can click on to guide your students. And there are hints that they can click on as well. You have all the answers, of course. But they can't skip ahead. And they can't guess randomly. Mathematically, it's simply impossible with the locks. So they have to actually know the content to escape. The first time a kid in my class did it, they literally pumped their fist and yelled when the stage unlocked. But I didn't just want random questions, so I made it blooms aligned. And you can choose what level of blooms you really want to hit or what you want to build your tools around. You can hit the remembering stage. You can hit the analyzing stage. You can hit the understanding, or you can hit the creative stage. You can do this with any of the 14 tools that I have on the site. So you can support and challenge your kids all at the same time. The free tier is 5 tools a month, and it's free. There is no credit card for 5 tools a month. There's no free period of sign up and then you automatically become a paying customer provided your credit card details. No, not at all. If you do want more than 5 tools a month, the Pro is $12 a month for unlimited everything. You can generate 100 tools a day if you wanted. You could generate every tool for the entire school year for all of your staff just from your account. Because I'm a teacher and I know what it's like to have for everybody wanting to have every single teacher to have their own account. Listen, this thing does cost me money, but this is also a pay it forward. I do the same thing. Everybody does the same thing with teachers pay teachers. One person buys it, then they share it amongst the cohort. I know exactly what's going to happen, and I built it for that. So that's fine. Build the tools for your team and share the links. And in fact, you can build the tools. And if you go into your preferences or to your generated tools, there's a little toggle at the top where you can choose to make them shareable. And they become part of the public marketplace. And anybody who has an account can go and click on that and play that tool. They don't need to be a paying customer to do that. So I wanted this. I do need some people to pay for it because it does cost me money, but I wanted it to be the kind of price where a teacher doesn't have to think about it. I've been thinking about this, like why it felt so important to build. And I think it's this. Teachers are incredibly skilled professionals who spend enormous amounts of time on things that aren't teaching. And it drives me nuts. Really drives me nuts. How much just bookkeeping I have to do. And how much just non-teaching typing and inputting manually that I have to do. Planning, yeah, but also formatting, sourcing, building, cobbling things together. It's frustrating at times, but Tinkerix doesn't make you a better teacher. You probably already are a good teacher. It just gives you the time back. So for those of us teaching internationally, and I know that a lot of you are, there's an extra layer to this. We're often teaching in contexts where the available tools are built for an American classroom with American standards. Tinkerix doesn't care where you are. It doesn't care if you're teaching IB in Shanghai or Cambridge in Bangkok or like a bilingual program in Berlin. You describe what you need for your students and it builds it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to tinkerix.app/podcast. That URL is just for listeners of this show. You get 10 free tools instead of 5 for your first month. No credit card, just sign up, type a description of something you need for your class, and see what happens. If it doesn't work for you, you have lost nothing. But if it does work, well, that's one fewer Tuesday nights building widgets in Google Slides. Listen, I'm really proud of this thing. I built it in about 2 weeks with basically no traditional coding experience. If your teacher's also been sitting on a side project, well, that's actually a whole other episode. But for now, tinkerix.app/podcast. Go try it. Tell me what you think. I genuinely want to know.